Alrighty, folks, we got something a little different today. Keith over at Attack from Downunda has a little contest running called Phobia in Seasons. I figured what a great day to do this because it is 18 degrees outside in North Texas, and that's 18 degrees American, not Celsius. Snow flurries, nice and chilly. Nice day to be inside. Excuse me. So he's got 4 questions here. The first question is, show an album cover with art that you have a phobia about. Now, I don't have a whole lot of phobias, but I do have some things that give me the willies. And one of those things is spiders, especially spiders in your house. This King Diamond spider's lullaby. They can go anywhere. They're fast. They leave little webs behind, and they bite. So I'm not a big fan of spiders, especially ones in the house. And also, one of the worst things I could think of, one of the worst ways to go would be burned alive. Not the biggest fan of Rage Against the Machine, but this is a classic photo of that Tibetan monk protesting, probably the Chinese, if I was to guess, from the 70s. If you grew up in the 70s, everybody saw that photo everywhere. And he said if you didn't have a phobia, you could show an album of something that grosses you out. And there's nothing that grosses you out more than like reaching under a desk and finding a piece of gum. Finding a piece of used gum anywhere is always kind of gross. I think we can all relate to that on one plane or another. And the second question was, it was 2-parter. Show an album that you like to play in the winter or makes you think of winter. And of course, the first one that popped in my head was Cinderella, The Long Cold Winter. And the second one, From the Great White North, Rush, Fly By Night. That album cover just screams cold. I bet it's 18 degrees in that photo. And then show an album that you like to listen to in the summer or makes you think of summer. So I went with Van Halen 2. And you got Dance the Night Away, Light Up the Sky, Beautiful Girls, Bottoms Up. Definitely a summertime album. And another one I always think of about the summertime is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Damn the Torpedoes. When this album came out, you just heard it everywhere. Kids driving around with their windows down, blasting this. Refugee, Here Comes My Girl, Even the Losers, Louisiana Rain. I always think of summertime when I hear Tom Petty in general, but especially that album in particular. Let me scroll up here a minute. I didn't put the screen on very well. Show a weird soundtrack album. First one that came to mind was definitely Return of the Living Dead. Classic zombie, one of the first comedy horror movies probably. Now this is mainly punk bands, crossover bands. This album is actually where I first heard about TSOL. So I got into them. They had they started off as a punk band, but then turned into a metal band, which a lot of bands did in the mid 80s. And then of course you gotta go with the classic Rocky Horror Picture Show. Doesn't get any more weirder than Frankenfurter and Riff Raff. And then, let's see, talk about your favorite record store. If you buy online, what favorite site you use. So, my favorite record store is a place called Forever Young in Grand Prairie, Texas. I don't get over there as much as I used to when I lived in Arlington, but it's still the best one around in the Metroplex as far as I'm concerned. I found a couple I got from there. Here's my Angel Witch debut. It's a Japanese original pressing. It did not come with the obi though. And then another one I picked up there, Saxon Power and the Glory. And then now I mainly buy stuff online nowadays, and Discogs is where I buy most of my stuff at. And I picked up this one recently on Discogs. Tommy Bolin, the definitive teaser collector's edition 5 CD set. This thing's awesome. Alrighty, so I think that's my 4 entries with a couple of examples for each one. I'll leave a link in the description down to Keith's channel so that you can go over and check it out. Probably figure out the rules and questions a little bit better than I explained them. Alrighty, you guys have a good one.